Well, hi, Prescott, and thank you for tuning in to another Prescott E-News Prescott Talks. My name's Glenn Martin, and I'm the host, and today we're traveling down the highway over to Chino Valley, and I'm proud to bring you another candidate running for Chino Valley City Council, Eric Granillo. And Eric, thank you for coming down and speaking with us today.
Thanks, Glenn. Thanks for having me on the show.
It's awesome that, I really like getting people from other communities rather than just Prescott. I know the show is called Prescott Talks, but I would like to just take a moment and welcome anybody else who's out there. I know I talked to Gina, one of your opponents. I've talked to several other candidates out in Verde Valley, Randy Garrison. You're all welcome to come in and talk. It doesn't have to be Prescott. The whole idea of this show is to get the candidates on camera, talk to their positions and their points, and have the voters go to the voting booth as informed voters. So they know who they're voting for and they know what the positions are. So with that, Eric, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you and why are you running for City Council?
So my name is Eric Granillo. A lot of people may know me or may not know me. I was born here in Prescott, Arizona, right here at YRMC. And, our family's been here for a long time. I grew up my elementary days in Mayer, my junior high years in Prescott Valley, and I graduated at Chino Valley High School. Mm-hmm. And I've been in Chino. I went to college in Phoenix for a few years and came back to Chino, brought my wife with me, and I've been married for 19 years to my wife. I got 3 kids. My son Andrew, he's 21. He's out in Iowa in college, working on his bachelor's degree. He'll be the first one in our family to receive a bachelor's.
Good deal.
Debt-free.
Yeah.
And which is a huge, it's going to be a huge accomplishment once that happens. My daughter's 19. She's a little entrepreneur like ourselves. And my son Elijah is 10 years old, and he'll be graduating from Chino Valley High School. My 2 oldest graduated from Chino High School as well. And one of the main reasons I'm running is, we see a lot of, growth happening in Chino, and I don't think the right people are in place to continue with this growth as the future continues. And for me, I think it's something I needed to do to fulfill myself. I run 2 businesses, and my businesses let me have the time to run for council. And as an American, that's something that everybody should do, is help out your country one way or another.
Mm-hmm. So when we talk about the growth, are you talking about like the limiting of growth, or kind of expand on that a little bit?
Well, Chino Valley is going to grow regardless. It's inevitable that Chino Valley will grow. So which way is it going to grow? Are we going to have Granvilles all over Chino Valley? Are we going to have rural living? And for me, it's, Chino's always been 1-acre parcels, everywhere. 10 acres, 5 acres, 1 acre. Appaloosa Meadows, 1-acre parcels. And that's the growth that I'd like to see happening in Chino. We don't need Bright Star developments in Chino. Mm-hmm. We don't have the roadway, the infrastructure. So, at first, I believe we need to work on our roadway. Our general plan needs to be updated. Mm-hmm. And as our roadways continue, we need to figure out, the path down, say, Perkinsville Road, where more of the development's going to happen. And, how are we going to get the income, to build the infrastructure out?
Right. And that's another deal. It's like I go down Perkinsville Road to go to the Chino gun range, and it's like, while I'm driving my truck, I hit a pothole and I change lanes. I'm glad nobody's coming the other way. But that takes money. How do you get the revenue to do all that? Let's talk about taxes for a minute. I know taxes are an issue for everybody, especially right now in the middle of COVID. How would you raise the money to do all this infrastructure work?
We get a certain amount from HERF funds and to fix our roads. But I believe with more tourism coming into Chino, RV parks is going to be huge. We need people to fill up at our gas stations, but we also need to be charging impact fees as well on developments. Mm-hmm. We stopped charging impact fees years ago, and I think that we made a big mistake by not charging impact fees. That could go to help out all the infrastructure that needs to be built. We can't rely on new businesses coming in to build the infrastructure. We need the tax revenue from the businesses, but we can't have them, build the roads. You know, there's a lot of businesses that are trying to come in. I've talked to a few business owners that are trying to put businesses in Chino, and you know, the town wants them to, you know, fix this lane to turn into the building, or you know, or the sidewalk, or, you know, that should be part of the town responsibility to fix that. We can't, you know, you can't tax us to death, you know, but there needs to be a fair share.
Well, I can understand, like, when I go to Chino, there's not a whole lot of businesses there. Matter of fact, you all have one grocery store. It would be nice to have a little competition, I'm sure, and the folks of Chino would like to see that. But, you know, there has to be incentives for small businesses to come in. Do you have any ideas or thoughts on that?
There does have to be incentives, yeah. So, you know, once we get our the plan of moving forward, where are we going to start with these businesses? Are we going to put them down by Old Home Manor, by the gun range out there? Is that where we're going to start the center of town? How are the roadways going to be? As far as the grocery stores, I mean, yes, it would be nice to have a little bit of competition. The whole population might not be there for another grocery store yet, but that's something that can, you know, that we need to look forward into the future for. But yeah, we need to have an incentive to bring small businesses in, and you know, the town needs to make it easier for businesses to come in.
Would that be like less restrictions, or how do you?
Correct, less restrictions, help them, you know, build the infrastructure out to get into the businesses, not having the businesses build the infrastructure out. The businesses have enough costs, you know, to build in, you know, they need to do their build outs for, you know, fix their driveway and fix their driveway to their parking lots. They need to do their build outs on their building, get all the inspections needed. Last thing that the business owner needs is to pay for all his inventory, get everything set up, and the town says, oh, well, there's no right of way turn here.
By the
You
way,
need to fix that.
Yeah,
You know, now the guy's going to get up and move and take his business to Prescott Valley or somewhere else.
sure. Well, I think a lot of it has to do with infrastructure. I mean, living here in Prescott, you know, you know, our population has gone up dramatically, I believe. I don't have the exact numbers, but, you know, going down any of the highways or roadways now, you certainly feel that impact within our community. And it seems like the infrastructure continually gets burdened with more and more folks moving in. So I would think if you're looking at bringing in more businesses and keeping that rural feel, if you will, that infrastructure would be a huge talking point.
Yes, Prescott, I mean, you know, like I said, I was born and raised here. I remember when, you know, coming down where Costco's at, it was a big old white turnout there, and none of those businesses were there.
Right.
But they did a great job building out that road, and you know, we survived it, and it was going to grow regardless. So you know, they built it right. You know, they put Lamb Chevrolet where it's at. They put the Walmart there, and
Right.
you know, the Costco on the other side, and they did a good job. The mall up there, and you know, Prescott was built out right,
Yeah.
and it attracted a lot of businesses. You know, downtown Prescott here, as far as the pandemic, you mentioned that earlier. The council did a great job as far as closing up the parking lots and putting in the extra seating there, right there on Cortez. So you know, it's extra seating, and they did a great job. And you know, that's things like that is what the town needs to look at. You know, these businesses are struggling in Chino, and you know, everybody's affected by this pandemic.
Well, the small businesses that are, as long as we're on COVID, the small businesses that are there in Chino, what can Chino do to help them? Because I mean, I know like Arturo's, that's been closed, and several of the other little restaurants have been closed. When it first hit, I don't know if it's closed still today. But I think it's commonplace that our small businesses are struggling and they're trying to stay alive. Any thoughts about that as far as what the council can do to help them?
Right. So yeah, you know, the biggest thing is government shutting down businesses. That's a shot to any business owner. And when a government tells you, you know, how to run your business, I mean, you're already being taxed to that as a business owner. You know, that's the worst thing. The town needs to be helping out. You know, the seating, you know, 6 feet apart, fine. Every other table, fine. But they just need to open it up. They need to open up the businesses. These businesses rely, you know, Arturo's they're back open. Most of the restaurants are back open in Chino. And, you know, we go out to eat quite a bit, and, you know, they're pretty busy. Most of the restaurants are busy in Chino. But yeah, you need to stop telling them how to run their business, and, you know, and just help them out and figure out, let them bring you the ideas. They're the business owners, the town council's not.
Yeah. Well, I think the town council and elected can have a role doing this. When I see our mayor, Greg Mangarelli, out, he's out supporting businesses. He's talking to businesses, and he's hyping them up and trying to do whatever he can do, supporting them by just being there. Same thing with Kel over in PV. Do you see any of that happening in Chino? I don't see it, but I don't live there, so I'm just the elected people, the mayor, any of the officials out there, trying to support the businesses whatever way they can, boots on the ground.
No, I don't think they do a good job like the mayor in Prescott Valley. He does a fantastic job. I know what you mean. He's out there walking the streets and
he's all over Facebook.
Yes.
He really does support his town and the businesses and tries to improve it. Hats off to Kel. He does a great job, in my opinion. But
he does, and I know there's Corey Mendoza who runs CNR. He runs a great business out in Chino. As far as the other members, I'm not sure if they have any business experience. For me, I've owned my own business since I was 18 years old, so I still run my business now. I run two businesses, and I know how important it is. We hire 18 employees, and we got to keep the wheel turning. We got a lot of families we have to pay. Our employees that we pay, and a lot of families that survive off our payroll. Absolutely. That we pay them. So. Yeah, it is important to go out there and talk to businesses. It is important to go out there and sit down and eat with them and patronize these businesses, and I think Chino needs to do a little bit better job.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to ask you, what do you see would be the most improvement that's needed in Chino that you could affect as a council person?
It's expanding on the general plan. It's outdated. Chino's moving too fast, maybe too fast for its own good, but that's the way it's going. Which way are we going to take it? Are we going to take it overbuilding or underbuilding? I think, like I said, we do need to attract more businesses in there, and get out there and talk to businesses. I know Maggie, from the town there, she does a great job trying to get new businesses in. I'm not sure why they're not coming in at this point. Maybe they're asking too much from the business, but we do need to get businesses, and my goal would be to get some of those businesses. And I'm a small business owner, and I'd love to see more small businesses in Chino.
With the regards to the police department, I was reading some things on Facebook about wanting to build a new police station. Can you fill us in on that a little bit? Because, quite honestly, I don't know how to ask the questions because I'm not aware of so much about it, but there is a call to build a new police station. Where do you stand? And maybe you can explain that.
I'm 100% for law enforcement. I believe our police officers need the best of the best, whether it's vehicles, armor, the equipment that they need, and a jail is one of them. Do we renovate the building that we currently have now, or do we build a new one? So is that going to be in the budget? Do we raise taxes for it? There's a lot of questions that need to be answered before we can start saying, okay, we need a new building. But as far as protecting our law enforcement, yes, we definitely need to make sure they have the best, and we might just need to
whatever the budget can afford.
Yeah, whatever the budget can afford. And I run a debt-free business. I run a debt-free household, and I would run a debt-free town.
Yeah. Interesting. Let's go into a little bit more about kind of where you stand generically. Let's talk about the Second Amendment. Recently, the county proclaimed the county as a sanctuary city for Second Amendment against red flag laws. I know that went over to Chino Valley, but I don't think I don't think they passed any kind of ordinance that they would not use any of your equipment and law enforcement to enforce a red flag law due to the undue process. Where do you stand on that?
As far as the red flag law, it's I don't think it's right that somebody can just come in and call the police department and say, hey, this person's unfit to have a weapon, and they come in and take all your guns away. I believe we're safe in Chino against red flag laws. I am 100% against red flag.
But Second Amendment in general?
Second Amendment Journal, love it. We need it. It's our right.
When you say you support the Second Amendment, do you support having the citizens own semi-automatic rifles, high-cap magazines, or do you think there should be limitations on the Second Amendment?
No, there shouldn't be any limitations, but I think that everybody should have their concealed weapons permit. I think everybody should go in for proper training on how to use their weapons. Maybe every couple of years, and right now I think our CCWs are 5-year. They expire every 5 years. So I think every 3 to 5 years, keep it renewed. But go into training. Right now you just fill out your form and pay your dues and you're registered again.
We're a constitutional carry state, so you would be against the constitutional carry state where you have to have a concealed weapons. Is that what you're saying?
For high capacity. For high capacity. For your regular handguns, no. That should be your right to carry.
Gotcha. Proposition 207, state level. Where do you stand on that?
Proposition 207
That's the marijuana, by the way,
yes.
recreational marijuana.
They're going to legalize recreational marijuana. Me, myself, I would never use a drug that would slow me down. I move 1,000,000 miles an hour, and last thing I need is to have something slow me down. I know it works for some people, but I think it's a real touchy subject. I would vote no on Prop 207. We don't have the right equipment to monitor for DWIs on it, and I think it just makes it more difficult for our law enforcement officers to do their job.
There's quite a industry in Chino, is there not? Marijuana growers and that kind of stuff there.
There is, yes.
Yeah.
There's distributors in Chino.
How about 207? Or I'm sorry, let me
208.
back that up. 208. That's the school initiative.
So the 208 is, I believe, it's the 30.5% tax increase on married couples making $500,000 or $250,000 for single. That you can't tax us to death. You can't tax wealthy people. Whether it's a business owner, he's going to either slow down his business or he's going to not employ as many people. We're a capitalist country. Yeah. We need to keep it that way. A guy like Jeff Bezos, that's worth billions of dollars. He owes nobody anything. He started out of his garage in his house. It's not his responsibility to feed the government. So I'm no on 208.
Yeah, I think that another impact would be, again, during a COVID with the small businesses, another tax. And you know where that tax is going to go to, right, Eric? I mean, you and I are going to pay for it ultimately.
Oh, yeah,
So,
absolutely, yes.
So, it's just, we're going to tax rich people. You say that's a trickle-down cause. So
You're gonna, they're going to get up and leave. You got a good manufacturing company here in the state, and they're going to get up and leave.
Well, that's what we need to do. We need to bring companies into our state,
We need
jobs, and our economy. So I think we're both on the same.
Yes,
same
and
plane
I
on
mentioned there's businesses in California. They're dying to leave California. They want out.
Yeah.
They got these ridiculous laws over there. If you got to sign this. We've done work over in California, and we have to sign this form that says how we're going to dispose of our plastic, and we have to turn that into the state. We don't do work on there anymore. We refuse to do any installation work out there. Yeah. It's ridiculous the nitpicking that they do, and those companies are going to leave, and they're going to come here to Arizona.
So that opens up another door. You talked about yourself a little bit. What do you do professionally?
So I started my business. It's called CM Wireless. I started back in 2001. Actually, I was downtown Phoenix getting my tax exempt number there with the AZDOR. But I started that business when I was 19. Me and my wife started it. We were selling cell phones and cell phone accessories. We moved over back to Phoenix, or back to Chino. I brought her with me, and we got married here, and we opened up a small cell phone store, and we used to sell cell phone accessories, and now we're a satellite company, so we sell and install satellite. We're probably one of the larger satellite installation companies in the West Coast.
Make a commercial for yourself. Do you have a website?
Throwing a plug in. cmwireless.com.
There you go.
And I own another small development company. I'm getting bashed right now on Facebook, actually. They're saying I'm a big developer, which I'm not. You know, me and my brother run a small development company. We do about 5-6 houses a year, and we resell manufactured homes.
Well, you're
in
big
the
time,
county.
5 or 6 a year, huh?
Yep, yep. I put the thing the other day on Facebook saying that, these guys thinking I'm gonna, buy 100 acres in Chino and turn it into the next Granville.
Yeah.
That's not the case. That's not what I want. That's not what I'm going to do. I sell houses to people where I would like to live. 2-acre parcels with a well. That's what we sell.
We talk about wells, and I know a lot of the community of Chino depends on wells. Some of the meetings that I've gone to, there's people who want to meter wells. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's definitely wrong. I mean, I grew up on a well. I have well right now in my house. We need to put people like Judith Burgess and Quan Nguyen into office that are going to protect our wells, fight for us. Having metered wells that's not the way Chino was or Chino should be.
Should be, yeah. It's always a fight about water.
There's always a fight about water. But we gave up our water rights years ago to the city of Prescott, which was a big mistake, huge.
Yeah.
When I buy land, I look at the water.
Sure.
I would call our driller and say, hey, look, I'm looking to buy land here. What do you think about the water? You give me the reports on the area, how much water is there, and that's where we buy. And water is the most important thing we have.
Yeah, well, absolutely life-sustaining. Well, Eric, that's the last of my questions that I had for you today. Maybe you'd like to go ahead and talk to the voters and let them know why they should vote for you for Chino Valley Council. That's your camera.
All right, I've been in Chino, since I was young. Been working in Chino, and we've seen a lot of companies come and go. A lot of people come and go in Chino. I'm here to stay, and I'm pro-business. I'm pro-Second Amendment, and if you want somebody that cares about the town, vote Eric Granillo.
There you go. Quite easy on that one, huh? Well, as always, Prescott, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that this gave your voters some kind of more information about who you are, and so you can go to that ballot box and at least know who you're voting for, rather than seeing a sign on the street. That was always something that bothered me about. Somebody told me years ago, well, the winner will be the guy who has the most signs on the road. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we need to get these guys out in front of people and let them know where their stance. And thank you so much again, Eric, for coming in and let us know where you stand on a lot of the issues in Chino. As always, Prescott, I always like to say thank you to our current serving and prior serving military for giving us the opportunity to express ourselves in this free land and have the opportunity to go vote and be a republic rather than being a socialist country or a communist country, and they're going to tell us who we're going to have to bow to. I always like to say thank you to our law enforcement and firefighters for keeping our streets safe. Again, Chino Valley, you guys got some great officers out there. Sergeant McIntyre, one of them that I had some contact with, he actually took a couple days and taught a group of us from Yavapai County preparedness team about Stop the Bleed. We did that over in Proforce. So, every contact I've had with law enforcement, I'm not a lawbreaker, but typical contact, they've always been very professional and seems to be a great group of folks. So again, Chino Valley, Prescott PD, Prescott Valley PD, all our sheriffs, thank you so much, and our firefighters in all of our districts. With that, we'll see you next time, Prescott. Thanks for tuning in.